the last day in Åland, and we nearly get stranded in a primeval forest on the edge of Scandinavia. Plus, I decide to take no insulin all day. Hi, I'm Jeremy. Thanks for watching. Well, today we had all day to kill in the Åland Islands before our ferry to Estonia tonight. It was a really great day of sightseeing, although it was a terrible day for diabetes. Maseo and I went down to the breakfast buffet, which was just as nice as yesterday, but this time there were no other diners, only us two. We checked out of Hotel Cicada, stuck our big bags in a locker in the ferry terminal, and went to check out the Maritime Museum, which in Swedish is called Huvudfästet. Now, as I keep saying, it's the off-season here in Åland, but this museum was open. Unfortunately, its greatest attraction, which is this big boat called Bomarsund, was not open. But the museum is really great. It gives you a real big sense of the seafaring tradition of the Åland Islands. It's in one big room that has things like figureheads and a captain's wheel and all these displays about sailors' knots and navigational aids and flags and things like that. And there's also some little side rooms that have rebuilt captain's quarters or a saloon or kind of the bunk rooms for the sailors. I found it all very engrossing. The displays were in Swedish and English and Finnish, so I could understand what was going on. And most of the museum kept reminding me of my grandpa, who died a couple days ago, who liked sailing himself. The Maritime Museum tries to not only inform you, but to give you an idea of what life is like on a boat. There are little toy rats kind of hidden in random places around the museum, which is probably very reminiscent of actual life on a ship. Some of the things I liked best were the computerized simulator, the displays about music, medicine, didn't see any insulin, and I checked, and an authentic skull and crossbones pirate flag from the 17th century. Turns out there are only 2 of these in the entire world, and this is one of them. And despite the English display, it is a pirate flag. Oops. In the basement is the kids area, but there were no kids around, or adults. Just us two. So we put on the costumes and set out on our own nautical adventures. We even saw a little something to get us in the mood for our ferry to Estonia tonight. Thanks a lot, museum. It's really great. Appreciate it. We went and looked at the outside of the great Bomarsund ship a little bit, and then walked around town some more. Our ferry was not till very late at night, so we had another destination in mind for today. We had to take a local bus out to a place called Sund to see this old Russian fort. First we stopped in a cafe where I had a small salad. My blood sugar was 221, but I didn't take any insulin because I thought we were going to be walking around a lot, plus there weren't any carbs in this meal anyway. Was this a smart decision? Turns out, no. After ducking into a record store real quick, no Ray Charles, just some Leonard Cohen, we found our bus. I told the driver where we were going and he told us to get off at stop number 416. The ride through the countryside was really nice. This was our first look at Åland outside of the city of Mariehamn. Lots of big fields, little tiny houses sprinkled here and there, and the distant mountains, and of course the all-pervasive cloudiness. It was simultaneously gorgeous and remote, frightening and inviting. More frightening, perhaps, was that it seemed like it was going to be easy to miss our stop. There were no announcements, and the bus only stopped if a passenger pushed the button, but we didn't know where 416 was going to be. I never saw 416, but as the bus rounded one curve, I saw a bunch of ruins. So we pressed the button and jumped out. It was actually 417. But anyway, we were here, the Russian fortress of Bomarsund. I actually don't know if the fortress is called Bomarsund or if it's called this other name which we saw on a sign. Huvudfästet. Whatever you call it, this place was built in 1854. It was only half completed when the French and British destroyed it, and now the ruins are this curious and crazy thing just out in the middle of nowhere on the edge of Scandinavia. Light-colored walls made out of these big, irregularly shaped bricks. They wind around for a little bit, then they crumble, then they wind around in another section and crumble. There are cannons, and everywhere is the sense that right over the hill is a very big, endless sea. As usual, nobody else was here, only me and Masayo, and I took the opportunity for a particularly scenic blood sugar check. It was 222. Exactly almost what it was before, and not good. Again, I took no insulin, figuring we're still walking around and climbing on walls and stuff. Not very smart. Right next to Huvudfästet is a bridge that goes over to a little tiny island called Prestu. Now, we may literally have been the only people on this island, but there are little hiking trails around that lead to various cemeteries for various religions. We didn't have time to go see all of them, but we wandered around the woods, and it was like being back in some kind of primeval Scandinavian forest. There were no sounds, just a feeling of sea beyond the trees, and a lot of very wet, very cold undergrowth everywhere. Mushrooms had sprouted up, giving these kind of incongruous bursts of color. There is a museum for Bomarsund on Presto Island, although it's actually closed for the season. And according to the sign, the winter season is actually 9 months of the year. We knew when our bus back to town was leaving here, and we knew it was important to catch this bus because it was the last one of the day. We waited and waited, and the bus didn't come. And it was getting pretty dark, and I was starting to worry. Maybe we misread the schedule. Maybe there wasn't going to be a bus. Could we sleep next to the Russian fortress all night? If Masayo survived the night, would she kill me in the morning? Well, thankfully it didn't matter. The bus was a little late, but it came. We were grateful. We got on, and we got back to Mariehamn after dark. For dinner, we found a kebab place, which was basically a big pile of meat with some sauce on it. Again, didn't seem very carb heavy, so I didn't check my blood sugar, and I didn't take any insulin. There's nothing going on up in this head. I mean, absolutely nothing. What, did I just get diabetes yesterday? Who? Now, the final joke of the day was that we got back to the ferry terminal and it was closed. It had been a long day. We just wanted to sit inside and where it was warm and relax and wait for the ferry, but no, we had to wander around town again in the icy dark for about another hour. I amused myself by taking photographs of things I thought would be really exciting, like a tree shaped like South America, or Jethro Tull's van, or scenic bicycles that, now that I see the picture, aren't that interesting. Anyway, the ferry terminal finally opened up. We sat inside. I watched an NFL game thanks to NFL Game Pass on my laptop and the free Wi-Fi in the ferry terminal. My last insulin shot had been at breakfast time. My blood sugar now was 333. That's what I get. Of course I was upset, but it's my fault. No insulin? Well, finally now I took the Humalog I needed to correct it. And at about 12:30 a.m., the ferry arrived. We got on. Masayo and I had separate rooms. I was a man's room and a woman's room. Mine was a small place with 4 beds, 2 bunk beds that I shared with 3 other guys. And I started talking with this older Estonian guy who spoke English. And he was telling me of all these places I should go. And he took out his bag and he had this like old folded map of Estonia. And he was pointing out all these places on it, telling me the benefits of each place and why this place is beautiful and what's interesting about this place. He really seemed to love Estonia and was very excited to inspire me to see more of it. He also told me he had once lived in San Francisco when he was a college student. And he said what he loved about San Francisco was the lines on the road, or the arrows on the road for drivers, didn't have any English. It was just arrows. It didn't say left or right or stop or whatever. He said it was easy for anybody from any country to understand. You didn't have to speak English, just follow the arrows. He thought that was a really great touch. Good thing and a bad thing about today. The good thing is that we started to see the change from Scandinavia to Russia. Tomorrow we'll be in Estonia, which used to be part of the Soviet Union, although culturally considers itself Nordic. But it was fun to be way out there on the edge of the Åland Islands and to have earned it ourselves. It wasn't a package tour or anything, we just took a local bus and used our wits to get there and our luck and our wits to get back. The bad thing, duh, is that I took no insulin all day. Exercise may lower blood sugar, but just walking slowly around some Russian ruins, that's not enough exercise to matter. Diabetes thoughts for today. Well, my average blood sugar was 244 today. I deserved it. It started out 198 and just kept getting higher. I did enjoy numerically the fact that it went from 222 to 333. It's not good medically, but mathematically it's kind of fun. That's all I got. So if icebergs and pirates and Russian submarines don't sink us first, tomorrow morning we should be arriving in Estonia, another new country. I hope my blood sugar isn't still in the 300s tomorrow morning after sleeping on this ferry.